Fridays at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. This is supposed to be a game plan show, but it's going to be a 49ers news update / game plan show because we got to talk about Trent, Jaylen. Yeah, I'm just going first names.
I hate this.
You just know who these guys are. Kinlaw, Hurst,
Lance,
Darrion Daniels.
possibly Darrion Daniels. So you should hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right this moment, hit that notification bell as well. That way you don't miss any of the content. Did you miss the Friday Frenzy? If you did, I feel bad for you. You missed a lot of great episodes, but the great news is that they stay up.
Yeah, you can go back.
You just go back and watch it, and they just go check out all the greatness from the Friday Frenzy and then make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the Friday Frenzy. Be like Jason down there. Be like Ivan Gonzalez down there. Don't miss out. Don't miss out on the Friday Frenzy. They were subscribed. They didn't miss any of it.
Yeah.
They saw all of it from start to finish, from the Madden Sim all the way to Know Your Opponent at 5:30 p.m. Pacific times on Fridays. I mean, you don't want to miss out on the Friday Frenzy. It's a lot of great stuff, but it's fine. You're here now. You've made it to the channel, and now you get to get updated all up in your face about things that are going on. And Javon Kinlaw and Maurice Hurst both officially ruled out. How big of an impact is this on the D-line?
I think it is an impact because both of these guys are good players. And Maurice Hurst, where he's going to be missed is the lateral movement, the way he's able to use his quickness, and in the pass rush department. I mean, we've seen him blow up some run plays, but he gets after it in the pass game. So that's going to be missed. It was nice when we got him back, but it appears he's got a calf injury. He's going to be out for a significant amount of time, 4 to 8 weeks. Hello IR, just in time to bring Kevin Givens back next week. So Kevin Givens will be back, and he'll be back into that role that we had for Hurst, and Hurst is back on the IR. It's unfortunate, and it looks like this is a really costly thing for the 49ers, but they were going to have to make some D-line decisions anyways. Jordan Willis was going to be coming back here pretty soon.
True.
So heads were going to roll at some point. I don't think this is what you want. But ultimately, you got Zach Kerr. He's been on the active roster. He knows how to play in this league. He's been a good player in this league. So you're just going to have to count on Zach Kerr to go ahead and get it done. And then let's see if they bring somebody else up. If they decide they need another interior defensive lineman, or if they feel confident, getting Ebukam, Arden Key, Eric Armstead reps on the inside. Maybe they ask a little bit more of D Ford in this game and kicking Armstead inside. All those things are possibilities.
Yep.
The 49ers defensive line is built to handle injuries. It sucks when you get 2 from the interior defensive line position, especially 2 from the 3-tech position. Not something you're looking for, not something you want.
Opposite.
But they can make it happen. Now, you did bring up Eddie Yarbrough in the, maybe he's a possibility. So I'll let you talk about Eddie.
Look, Eddie's a big guy. The only problem I see was with the interior stuff. He's an edge rusher.
Yeah.
He's an outside edge guy. So unless the idea is that you're going to move but Armstead into the interior for more reps on the interior this week and throwing a guy like Eddie Yarbrough out there at times in certain situations, I just don't see that being something that's going to be a lot of success for Armstead. There's a reason why they keep him on the outside on rundowns. He's very successful out there in space. He's a lot more big. He's long, right? So it makes it very difficult for tackles out in space and for tight ends to come down and crash in space and for him not to get around on the outside and set that edge and make sure he has control out there. He's got long arms. He's a big guy. He's powerful. What makes him great is throwing him on the interior for the speed stuff on pass rush downs. We can get to the quarterback because he has enough speed on the interior to be a problem. He doesn't have enough speed on the outside on pass rushing downs to be a big impact and force. Like, it's just not where he thrives. It's not where he succeeds. So Yarbrough will be great in certain situations for that, but you have a healthy Bosa. You have a healthy Ebukam. You have a healthy D Ford. In theory, you shouldn't need that. And you already got a guy in Arden Key who does some of the setting the edge stuff on the outside, and that you could really, at times, if you really wanted to, throw Armstead on the interior in a couple, maybe a drive, a couple of plays, and just put Arden Key out there in space. So I think your point you brought up earlier, Darrion Daniels, I think if they're going to bring somebody up, that is the guy who has the best chance from that practice squad.
Yeah, I think so. I think, he plays the 1-tech, he plays the nose tackle, so he'd be the guy that you would think. I think you'll also probably see DJ Jones play some 3-tech. He's athletic enough, he's physical enough to do that because you have Contavious Street. He's going to be the guy that's going to be probably the starter now, and he's going to be in there, getting those early reps, and he's going to have to hold up. but you need a rotation of guys. And I do think they're going to kind of mix it up. I think sometimes you'll see DJ there. I think sometimes you'll see Arden Key. I think sometimes you'll see Samson Ebukam. The main thing is they don't want to push to happen there. And the Colts have an offensive line that likes to get vertical and push you around. So they're going to need guys that can hold their ground. So it makes the most sense for them to go bigger with, Zach Kerr, DJ Jones, Contavious Street, and then occasionally Eric Armstead. Those guys would be the most, impressive inside and the guys that are going to have to handle it, because you don't want to mess up your outside rotation you have already with Bosa and Ford. You need those guys getting after Carson Wentz. The Texans don't have exactly the best defensive line in the league, yet they were able to stymie the Colts' run game early in this game and get after Carson Wentz. I think the 49ers can duplicate some of that.
Yep.
Let's see what happens. I mean, do you want two guys to be out at the same time? No. But if any defensive line is built to handle this, the 49ers is.
That is true. That is very true. It's unfortunate that this is happening at the same time that Quentin Nelson is getting healthy for the Colts, which means you're going to have a better interior guy going up against a weaker interior guy for the 49ers defense. That's not the greatest, but he is coming off of not having played and coming off of a lower leg injury, so there may be some rust there. And bad weather may also not play well for him either. So those things may offset themselves there in that scenario. So yeah, that's not the end of the world. Trey Lance being out, not a surprise for us. He hasn't been practicing all week, and they're going to protect this kid as much as you can. If they're not feeling he's 100% able to go out there and move and protect himself and be the guy he needs to be, then you're going to protect him from himself, especially right now with Jimmy Garoppolo being healthy. There's no reason to have Trey Lance trot himself out onto the football field and if he's not 100% when you have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's trending towards being 100% and they're believing is going to be 100% heading into this game. So I understand that. I mean, it doesn't shock me. Trent Williams' status, though, is a little freaky for everybody. It's shocking because no one expected that. The comments all week have been, we got to step up, execute, do the things we need to do. However, we've been hearing comments all week about Jaylen Moore, about Aaron Banks, and all this stuff happening. Trent Williams is now doubtful for this game. Come out now. He's doubtful. What are the 49ers doing, Ant? Is this a scenario where you're going to be seeing Jaylen Moore out there at left tackle? And I was now thinking about this in my brain of brains and my big brain. All of this talk, Ant, about Aaron Banks. Is Daniel Brunskill moving out to tackle? And they're throwing in Aaron Banks at guard. And they're not going to roll with Jaylen Moore. They're going to swerve everybody.
No, I don't think so. I still think Jaylen Moore is the best option for the 49ers at left tackle.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And I think Mike McDaniel's comments on Jaylen Moore, he's ready, he's going to be a very successful player in this league for a long time, now makes a lot of sense. Now you understand what he was doing. It's what they do with all players, right? When they know they're about to play a significant role for your football team, you start building them up. You want them to hear the positive comments that you say, like, oh, yeah, we're not worried. Jalen's ready to go. We're excited about this game. And if there was ever a game where he was going to be, thrust out there, he's going to be able to play because he's going to go against Kwity Paye and some of these guys that he can handle. He's going to be able to handle this. It'll be a nice matchup, Kwity Paye versus him. And when it comes down to it, Kwity Paye is not going to win with speed. It's going to be all about the single arm and getting physical and trying to, drive him back into the quarterback.
It's the only area he's had success in as a pass rusher.
Yeah, and not very much success.
That's very true.
He didn't look very good against the Texans as far as the film that we watched. I'm not ultimately worried about it. The one thing I will say is now Trent Williams getting beat against Arizona and holding and stuff makes sense. He was gritting through a ankle injury. He had an elbow and an ankle injury that he was playing with in that game. It makes sense why he wasn't able to consistently stop Chandler Jones.
And he was still fairly successful.
Oh, he was still doing a great job. I mean, that just shows you even on one leg, he's better than most. But yeah, Jaylen Moore going to get out there and he's going to get a start. I think if there was a game to do it, this is it. This is a good matchup for him. Let's see how he handles it, and let's see if we knocked another one out of the park here in the 5th round. We've been encouraged by what we saw. So the 49ers offensive line is not going to be full strength, and they're going to have to overcome that. And this is that first matchup that they're going to see that. So this was escalated very quickly for Trent Williams because it kept he's day to day. He's going to be good.
We expect him to go today or Friday. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. And then all of a sudden he's not. Not the news we were looking for. But you can't change it. You got to roll with the young guy, and we're going to see what development. I mean, just remember, just during the bye week, everyone said Jaylen Moore was a better option than Mike McGlinchey on Twitter. Every single person said it.
True.
We're about to see if that is actually the case, if he is actually a better option.
Hey, if he goes out and plays himself one heck of a game, you now have a conversation that needs to be.
Do you?
Well, I mean,
this isn't Arizona. This is The Colts.
It's a conversation that you need to at least entertain. I'm not saying you need to have it, but you need to at least entertain it.
Are you not entertained?
I mean, I'm entertained. I'm
Well,
extremely entertained.
I think there's potential for every offensive lineman to be successful this week.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even necessarily know that it needs to be McGlinchey necessarily that you need to entertain the conversation about. But, people talk about how Aaron Banks could replace. If Jaylen Moore goes out there and studs up and Daniel Brunskill continues to struggle as well, can we have a conversation about that?
I don't know. Do you want to stunt his growth of playing offensive tackle?
Absolutely not. But I also want to make sure that we shore up the O-line.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know what he's working on at practice. If he's working on guard, I know they only did it for a little bit at training camp.
Very small amount.
So I don't know if I think originally that was the plan, and then Skule got hurt, and that kind of flipped everything on his head. And then he came in and won the swing tackle job. That says a lot. He comes in and wins the swing tackle job. So it'll be curious. Also, what other offensive linemen are they going to have active for this game? Could we see a Colton McKivitz? Now we know why they protected Colton McKivitz on the practice squad.
That also makes sense now.
So now that's a possibility.
Still don't understand River Craycraft.
Nobody does.
No one ever will.
No.
I know I don't.
Interesting guy, very feisty. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna see our first look at this guy.
True.
So we'll see.
We're gonna definitely see. We're gonna definitely see. This is very interesting. It's 49ers fans right now. I can already feel the comment section brewing with concern and alarm bells ringing and all this other stuff. And while typically I would typically freak out about this, and in fact, right before we went live, I was freaking out about this. We did just watch the All-22 film for the Colts, and
yeah,
there was a week. If there was ever a week for this to happen, this is the week.
Well, right. If you're examining Trent and you know that he could push through, but he's not going to be closer to 100%, but if he takes the week off,
he could be closer.
You want him against Khalil Mack and what's going to happen up there in Chicago more than you need him against the Colts this week.
True.
So you got Bears and Cardinals. You're going to need Trent Williams a lot more for those two games than you need him against the Colts. So if you had to weigh, your options, you're going to sit him this week, hope that he's completely right against Chicago, because that is not a situation I want Jaylen Moore in, one-on-one with Khalil Mack on the outside.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
We don't need that moment. Nope. Don't need that moment.
I think they have Quinn too, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
They do have Quinn. I mean, it's both sides. You got a lot of things going on.
Yeah. So, I haven't dived too much into Chicago Bears yet, but to me, it just makes sense, right? You rest Trent. You take your. I mean, could he go out there and operate at 70%? Probably. Could he still stud it up? Yes.
At 70%, he's still a top 5 tackle.
But then he's not ready. Maybe not as good next week when you really need him.
What if he tweaks? It's weather. Weather as well. What if he tweaks his ankle and it gets worse?
Weather. I mean, it's a bad situation for him to be out there in the weather.
It's not great. It's not a great call. So all of those things could be factoring in, and
Jaylen Moore's going to dominate. And everyone's going to be like, "Wow, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they know how to draft people."
Start him at right tackle today now.
And 100% they know how to draft, right? Fantastic. Last week they suck. They can't draft.
Well, I mean, we were before.
Trey Lance is a backup. Trey Sermon's a backup. Banks is a backup. Diameter Lenore backup. All they do is draft backups.
Are rookies supposed to typically sit and wait and develop?
I'm just telling you what Twitter says.
This is why I don't go on Twitter.
I go on it for that reason.
Right.
So that way I can make little statements
I felt bad from Evan from the He's on Fire podcast because he friended me on Twitter like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Guess who just checked his Twitter and was like, "Oh, I probably should accept those. I probably should follow him back too. I probably should do that."
Yeah, I don't even know if I've been.
I don't
go on my Twitter either.
I don't check Twitter. I mean, usually the two of us only use Twitter for the cutback. That's about it.
That's 100%. And even then, I miss stuff. I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, Coach Timo was like, "Hey, are you guys gonna follow me back?" I'm like,
I know. I saw that. I was like, my bad.
Yeah, you followed him. I did. I did not realize we weren't following you. Okay.
Hey, we don't check. I apologize.
Apologies. Yeah.
If you send us stuff on Twitter, I mean, unless it's a DM, because it's the only thing we're checking on Twitter typically is DMs because we're communicating with different people, collaborations, things like that. Unless you DM us, we're gonna miss it.
It goes down the DM.
Yeah, that's the only place. That's it. Or Discord. Discord is a great place to find us.
Oh, it's true. If you're on Discord, you can get a hold of us real easy.
Real easy. It's real simple. Look. We got to talk about the game plan now, though, because all of these injuries, per se, and everything that's happening with this team now affects and impacts the game plan to an extent, but there's still some things that the 49ers definitely need to do. And we've talked a little bit offensively about what needs to get established, and the great news is that we watched the All-22 film. The Colts like to run a lot of base 4-3 stuff, and we talked with Lawrence Owens from the Colts Law podcast, and he talked about how they like to go nickel or 3 safeties at times. We watched the film against the Texans. Well, guess what? A lot of nickel. It's a lot of base 4-3. It's a lot of third safety in the box, and they bring him down. which is great news for the 49ers because that means potential to get the outside zone going, something we've all been missing. But you and I don't necessarily think that's going to happen the way we think it is. The Colts have to have watched film and had to have watched the teams that we've played so far running 5 men and having success slowing the run game down. Do you anticipate that?
Yeah, I think they're going to bring an outside linebacker up onto the line of scrimmage. Now, the key is if they sit in their 4-3 set, Mr. Owen told us himself that their strong side linebacker's trash. He's a special teams guy. He's not a guy that should be out there playing right now. So advantage 49ers. So if you get in those situations, you can take advantage of it. So the safety getting hurt for them also. That is a bad situation because they planned on going 3 safeties. That doesn't work. There are going to be opportunities for the 49ers to run the football, to throw the football, and I think a lot of third and manageable plays. So I'm excited about the opportunities here. The Texans had zero worries about the Texans pass rush. The Colts pass rush. They were just not worried about running a ton of deep routes and deep route concepts and allowing Davis Mills to operate the offense. And he wasn't even checking in and out of plays. He's just calling what's basically been called in the huddle. And he's going out there and running it. So, I think this is a good opportunity for the 49ers against this defense. They run a 2-high look and they run, a cover 3 look. Very little cover 1, but we saw it a couple of times. To me, nothing was confusing about it. On third down, they're going to show a bunch of guys at the line of scrimmage. Some of them are going to bail out. If you're able to recognize who's coming and who's not, and you pick it up, you have opportunities to be successful in the intermediate area where Jimmy Garoppolo thrives. So I'm excited about this game plan. I think they can run the ball, and I think they can throw the ball. And I think they're going to throw the ball consistently against these guys because they're now Rock Ya-Sin is out again at corner. So they're going to be hurt, and that means more than likely they're going to take their very good nickel corner and move them to the outside.
You're going to move your nickel corner to the outside. You're rolling with now Sendejo working in Julian Blackman's spot, and now you have who Owens talked about, right? An all-pro special team safety guy, but he's special teams all-pro player, not so great in the safety category. Out there in space running your other safety, which means you're going to have your backup nickel corner out there potentially working in. You're going to be getting into those new guys essentially that you've been signing and bringing in recently in the last week and a half, 2 weeks for them. On top of the fact, Ant, that Kamoko Toure, their starting defensive end, he's also out.
Yeah, he's out.
So you have him out on that defense, which means is there any opportunity that they maybe now with Jaylen Moore at left tackle, they're definitely going to put Kwity Paye over there on that side and test the young man, test the rookie.
Good.
But McGlinchey now has a little bit of an easier job and task this week now also on that outside space. Things are trending up for the 49ers offense to be able to attack this defense. If the weather holds a little steady and isn't as windy, even if it's rainy, if it's not as windy, you're still going to be able to throw the football and attack at this weakened secondary and weakened safety group. Yeah,
I think what's also nice is that Jimmy's going to have time to do it.
That too.
I saw the second half of this football game that they put Buckner outside sometimes.
Yep.
That's not a traditional role for him, and that's not an area where he's going to be the most successful. Could we get a Mike McGlinchey versus Buckner lineup? I would kind of like that. I would like to see how Buckner is able to operate against Mike McGlinchey out in space. McGlinchey's not going to get beat speed-wise, so it's going to all come down to hand placement and that stuff. He can definitely anchor down against Buck as well. That's a matchup I like, but what I really like is all the run fit problems for them. Darius Leonard is a good linebacker, but most of the time when he gets caught up in the wash, it's a real problem. He's a sideline-to-sideline guy. He's not a guy that likes to stick his head there in the middle, but there's opportunities for the 49ers to get this outside zone run game going, and if they do, the play-action pass off of it could be absolutely deadly because there were just too many opportunities. That I know the Colts won the football game against the Texans, but there's no reason the Texans couldn't have actually played them a lot tougher in that game. There were opportunities, missed blocks, a lot of things that you hear from the 49ers, so hopefully the 49ers cleaned it up. They can go after him. But I think that is the case for them. And I think that the Colts are going to have to disguise coverage, and they're going to have to bring the blitz consistently against Jimmy. And if they don't get home, he's going to be able to win because those intermediate plays are there because these linebackers want to fly up to stop the run.
They do. They want to. We saw it a couple different times on play actions where the linebackers would step up hard in space and then get caught up in a wash. Or they would step up hard in space and then bail. And it was actually like a delayed handoff or some sort of counter look. And, they weren't able to get to open areas. The outside run is definitely an area that the 49ers can attack, especially if they try and stick with this 4-man look. And the great news is that the Texans had some great scheme opportunities where you had receivers outside in space trying to crash down and make blocks against linebackers or defensive ends that just missed. They whiffed. You're talking walking down safeties where it's an easy block to make, and they try and play patty cake at the line of scrimmage and don't make the block, and it blows up the play. 49ers wide receivers aren't going to do that. Mohamed Sanu's not going to miss that block. Deebo Samuel's not missing that block. Brandon Ayuk's not going to miss those blocks. They're going to make those blocks, which means outside opportunities are going to be there for the 49ers. Now it's just about making sure that you see those holes and hit them when they're there, because we saw 3 or 4 different opportunities for huge run plays for the Texans in that last week matchup, that week 6 matchup against the Colts. 49ers are watching that film right now, and Kyle Shanahan's looking at his chops going, do it. I dare you. I dare you to go 4. I dare you to walk down a linebacker from your base 4-3, show that little 4-3 overlook, and we'll eat you alive. We'll eat you alive if you're going to give us that.
They have some opportunities to go deep, too. When you get the 2 deep safety look, you're going to be able to split them and go down the middle. There were opportunities last week, the last game the 49ers played against Arizona.
True.
Ross Dwelley got down the seam and a couple other guys, and they just weren't able to execute. You just didn't pull the trigger on the play. So I think those are going to be there. But that deep route concept also they ran earlier in the year, where you had Brandon Ayuk run the deep corner, and you had Deebo Samuel come across the formation and run the deep out across. It's going to be there, and I think they have an opportunity to take advantage of that, because these guys will turn and run, and they're afraid of the deep pass. So Jimmy Garoppolo can take those intermediate, and if for some reason they jump that intermediate route with Deebo Samuel, he can go deep down the field to Brandon Ayuk. But all that's going to be predicated on the run. Get the run game going, get the outside zone going, get this established, get the play action going, and then I think they can take shots. They're going to have opportunities to do it. This 49ers offense has enough weapons. They have enough guys back now. Some key things to watch in this game. I mean, I know we're talking about Jaylen Moore in that situation, but it's Ross Dwelley and Charlie Warner blocking on the edge. If they are able to handle it, we saw in this game that the Texans weren't always able to handle it. But if they can handle it, then the 49ers are going to have opportunities to be really successful in the run game.
They're going to have to. They need to. They need to win.
Yeah.
They need to win some of those matchups. They need to have opportunities where they come out on top and don't miss on a guy, don't whiff on a guy, or don't lose track of who it is that you're supposed to be hitting in space at second level. Because if they are able to, I'm not asking for pancakes. Not what I'm asking for. Recognize your guy, get your hips turned, create the running lane. If you can do that, Elijah Mitchell has shown he'll find it. He'll find those little creases, those little windows, and make plays. The Ross Dwelley and Charlie Warner. I'm not asking for much here. Just know who you're supposed to hit. Make sure you get there. Get your hips turned in space early. Let him make that read. And let's go. Let's run this football. Let's have success. And if we're able to do that, we're going to suck these guys up into the box, suck these guys up to the line of scrimmage. And now you're going to make jobs easier for Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Mohamed Sanu, Trent Sherfield, and Travis Benjamin. I mean, this is a huge week for Travis Benjamin. We could see him have a major impact for the 49ers offense.
This is the first time this year, and even against Detroit, where I come into a game and I'm like, 49ers can execute in all levels of this. They can literally attack this defense at any level and be successful. They can do anything they want to do. They just have to execute. Against the Lions, you knew that there were some things that the Lions did well that could cause problems for the 49ers, but the 49ers were, tremendously successful against them. You knew the Eagles, intense defensive line was going to cause problems.
Yep.
Every single week there's been something. This week, I'm telling you, there's opportunities for the 49ers to be successful all over the place. Don't be surprised if the 49ers don't put up points in droves, and don't be surprised if they don't come away with a big victory. I mean, barring tremendous weather, changing the game. But I think that they can still move the ball in the weather. I think they're built to do it. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm more excited after breaking down the All-22. I'm more excited for this game than I was even a few days ago.
True.
So we're getting closer and closer to Sunday Night Football. I think it could be a nice turnaround for the 49ers. They can get this thing going the right way, because I think they're going against a Colts team that they match up very nice against. And even with injuries, both teams have injuries, but even with the 49ers injuries, they have the capabilities to overcome and win in a big way. Here's
the thing. I think the injuries on both sides bode well for both teams. The interior injuries for the 49ers bodes well for their run game on the interior. However, there's a big however, you don't know how necessarily those interior guys are going to play. And what I have seen is their center get exposed a lot with swim moves, and their right guard getting exposed with spin moves against that Texans front. So again, interior D-line, these guys can win when they need to win at crucial times. What we just need them to do is not lose at big moments and big opportunities in the game on crucial downs and distances. As long as they're not losing, getting pushed, thrown against the wash, just getting driven back 8 yards on a play on a double team, then we'll be fine. And for the Colts, not having your starting right tackle, that's a big issue, because they already weren't great. And their starting right tackle and their starting left tackle did not do a really good job in that game against the Houston Texans.
Right.
They were able to eat there a little bit on the outsides. Now you're not going to be going with one of them. That means D Ford's got a little bit easier task. Arden Key, when he goes in and is asked to step in and play a role, is going to have an easier task. When Armstead's out there, he's got an easier task. If you decide to flip Bosa around a little bit this week, he's got an easier task. But in all honesty, I don't know if you need to, because the left tackle for the Indianapolis Colts is nothing to write home about. It's the former Chiefs left tackle. Was it Fisher? Not good.
No, I think a big storyline too is T.Y. Hilton.
100%.
If T.Y. Hilton's questionable, and I think there's a good chance he ends up playing, but how right is he? You know what I mean, how good is he to go? If he's not good to go, they absolutely cannot stretch, which means the 49ers can definitely commit an extra safety to the box and really cause a lot of issues, for the Colts run game. And if they're able to stop this run game, and Carson Wentz has to try to beat him, we saw on the All-22 film, you get Carson Wentz moving one way or the other, and he's not going to be good.
No,
he's not going to be good.
He struggles throwing on the run right now.
And I mean, you've seen Pittman Pittman is fine, but Pittman is a possession guy. I mean, if he has to take over a bigger role in this offense with T.Y., with T.Y. not able to stretch the defense, I think it's going to be harder for him to operate, and they're going to be able to muck it up. Emmanuel Mosley can cover this guy. Josh Norman can cover this guy. To me, he doesn't scare me. T.Y. is the only guy that I look at on their team.
T.Y. terrifies me. He terrifies me. He's still got the speed, man.
He does. And you have to respect it. So you bail a little bit early. He hits you with the stop route, the deep comebacks. Those things are all gravy for him. And he does know how to find open areas because he's a veteran. He knows how to find those open areas in his zone and sit down. So one of those guys they can count on. But the other guys, Pasquale, Michael Pittman, not scaring me a whole lot. Jack Doyle, I have some respect for. He gets open. He does a pretty good job. But he's not one of those guys that you're like, oh my gosh, I got Jack Doyle. You just don't.
Oh, in last week's film too, Jack wins a couple times, but Doyle's playing against
Texans.
They're not good. And you put up 7 points in that first half against that team. That's not good.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not the 49ers defense, I'll tell you that much.
No, it's really not. So Demeco Ryans is going to continue to scheme this up and find ways to bring that pressure, bring guys in the box. It was one of the things that was, I wouldn't say it was funny, it was different hearing a Colts perspective on the 49ers safeties, because he talked a little bit about how he didn't felt they did a good job of coming up in the box and filling for runs. And I think you and I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because 100%. I think you and I believe that these are two of the better coming up in the box and making play safeties in the run game. We've seen Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward both fill incredibly at times where huge cutback lanes open and a running back season starts to go, and it's like, hi there, did you think you had this? I don't think so, my buddy. You're going down right here for a 3-yard gain. No.
Yeah.
The safety room has been great about that, and that's a coaching point that, it's been the case. I mean, you and I both believe Jaquiski Tartt and Jimmy Ward, this has been the case for a while now with the both of them on this football team. So I'm not as concerned about us being able to slow down the run. I know it's not great having those two guys out on the interior with Kinlaw and Hurst.
Yeah.
But I think our interior guys, there's enough depth right now that you can do enough with the pieces you have to hold ground, hold positioning, allow your guys to fill up in space. And if especially if TY is not right, he's not out there, like you said, bring those extra guys into the box, muck that up, and make Carson Wentz try and beat you with your feet. Oh, with his leg, or his arm, excuse me, his legs. My goodness gracious, beat you with his arm while moving. If you can collapse that pocket, make him try and get out, and he has to try and throw on the run, he struggles. We saw him miss a wide open Mo Alley Cox on 2 separate occasions where he was moving from the pocket, and one of them he was able to move out of the pocket, set his feet, and then throw. It's just there's a lot. His body's just still not right. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't look like he's playing on 2 good ankles. I mean, it doesn't. And that's something that we said on the All-22. Is it because of the injuries, or is it just because?
Or is it just Carson Wentz?
It's just Carson Wentz at this point.
Maybe.
We're gonna find out, but he's gonna be on the move and he's gonna be running for his life. I've said before that it's gonna be. I said on the Wow That's Bull, it's gonna be 6 sacks, and Kinlaw and them being out doesn't change my opinion on this.
I like it.
I think that the 49ers are gonna get after it in a big way. They're gonna use the big guys up front to stymie this interior run game. They're gonna stop it. And they're going to use their speed rushers on the outside to get after Carson Wentz, get him in situations where he needs to get rid of the football, and he will completely rifle run over the middle that can go off somebody's hands. And when they run RPOs, he likes to force it. So if you get any sort of interior pressure on him, he's going to pull and he's going to try to whip it to one of these tight ends. He's going to give the 49ers an opportunity to get some turnovers in this game. And the 49ers win the turnover battle. They're winning this football game 100%.
And this is going to be a week 2 where they do a lot of pulling as well.
Yeah.
It's a team that pulls a lot, which means you're going to have interior guys with one-on-one opportunities. So DJ Jones, Win.
He will.
Win in those one-on-ones. Katavius Street, win. Win, my guy. Zach Kerr,
I hope he will.
win. You win in those matchups, and
Well,
you win on those matchups where they pull a guy in space and they're trying to get around to get up to second level. If they're able to disrupt that pull by getting some pressure, collapsing inside, and at least not get driven back or driven through the wash, then you have some opportunities to really slow this run game down, stifle them, and put them in 3rd and longs where when they go play action on 2nd and long, you don't need to respect it. It's pretty obvious what's happening here. Just drop back, sit back in coverage. They're going to try and max protect, and let your guys beat one-on-one guys in space. Let Bosa eat on the outside, let Ford eat on the outside, and then the guys in the middle, just slowly work yourself in and collapse that pocket.
Kerr is going to be highly motivated because he's been inactive. So he needs to go out there and prove that he can be one of those guys that contributes to this team. He doesn't want to be sitting out. He wants to be playing.
Correct.
So he's going to be highly motivated. But it's the same thing that was against Arizona. You get one big sack on 1st down, and it changes everything. You can change the way you run defense. You can sit back, tackle underneath. But you can also bring in your speed rushers and let them rush. You no longer have to worry about having the big interior defensive lineman. So it takes all the pressure off of the defensive line. I think that the Colts are going to try to run the ball early in downs and try to get the 49ers moving backwards. And if they're not able to, their offense won't click. Their offense won't go. And that'll be big for the 49ers. We could see another low-scoring game for an opponent. I know you predicted that it was going to be a low-scoring game for the Colts. So that could happen. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I'm excited about the prospects of the 49ers football team against the Colts this week.
Yeah. This is exciting. I'm excited for this game. I know some 49ers fans are worried. I know they're upset. How can we possibly win missing this many key pieces? Kinlaw's a bust. We should have kept Buckner, and that's now going to be the hugest talking point now of talking points.
What are the key pieces, though, besides Trent Williams?
I think people think Kinlaw there being out is a key piece, and then I think obviously the people who are the lengths.
But if Kinlaw's a bust, why is he a key piece?
But because they have to be able to have it both ways, Ant.
I'm just saying.
If they can't have it both ways, then
I mean, I think Trent Williams is a big loss. 100%.
Trent Williams is the biggest loss per se, and Kinlaw and Hurst being out at the same time is combined a big loss.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a big loss because
I think losing Kinlaw is a big loss.
Definitely in the run game.
Yeah, I just don't get the overall. I wouldn't understand a panic. I guess.
Here's the thing, right? If we had lost Kinlaw last year and Solomon Thomas, we'd lost both of those guys last season. Wouldn't have been as devastating to the D line as what we lost.
You think this year is more devastating than last year?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
The point I'm trying to make is that if those were the losses last year, the D line doesn't take that kind of hit that it took last year. So anyone that wants to freak out right now about losing these two guys right now at this time, not the same. It's not the same as last year because I've seen a couple people now. I was going through a couple of tweets literally just now where people were literally, this is basically like last year all over again with the D line. It's like let's slow down. You lost Ford, you lost Bosa, you lost Solomon Thomas in 2 weeks.
For the season.
This isn't the same thing. Kinlaw is going to be a week-to-week thing. It's going to be a day-to-day thing with him. Hurst, yes, it's 4 to 8 weeks. You're hoping it's hopefully somewhere in the middle, 5 to 6, that he can come back in. But you're going to get Kevin Gibbons back. Not the end of the world. You're going to get Kinlaw back at some point in time. Not the end of the world. Jordan Willis is going to come off the suspension. So you're going to have a lot of more pieces to start playing around with and doing things with. It's these two losses at the same time. It hurts, but it's not the same as last year's losses.
No.
Not even close.
No, I don't think so. I mean, do I want to lose these guys? No, I want them to play,
not.
Especially against the Colts. But I see what's on the horizon, and sometimes you got to sit guys in certain weeks and take your chances, and hope it pans out for you.
True.
If they can stop the Colts run game with the interior defensive line they're going to put out there, I mean, it wasn't too long ago that everyone was very excited about Zach Kerr. And now it's like because Kerr's been inactive, he's been thought of as an afterthought, and I think he can still get out there and make plays, and is good for this football team. So I'm not real worried about it. DJ Jones will step up. Zach Kerr's going to step up. You're going to have these guys. And Kentavious Street, remember, after week 1, Kentavious Street is here. He's the man. Kentavious Street can still play to a high level.
Do you mean to tell me that sometimes 49ers fans get a little over the top?
I think a lot of fans do. I think it's fandom. I mean, they're fanatics for a reason. And you know what? I mean, I know I poo-poo injuries a lot.
You do poo-poo injuries a lot.
Because I'm a coach, and coaches are about next man up, and sure. Playing that guy, you have to feel confident with the next guy. He's not going to be able to play to the level of the guy that's in front of him. There's a reason you have a starter. But there are certain positions when you have a lot of depth where you lose a guy and you're like, I can overcome this. And I believe that this is a situation they can overcome. I'm concerned about Trent Williams because I haven't seen Jaylen Moore play a lot of snaps this year. That is a concern. But I also know what opponent we're going against. If we were lining up against Chandler Jones, Khalil Mack, and those guys, I would be completely concerned. We're going against Kwity Paye and some dudes. That's what it comes down to. And maybe they're gonna make me look bad. And if they do, and Jaylen Moore doesn't play the potential that I think he can play, then I'll be on big yikes, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
You won't be on big yikes. You'll be. I would just you tip your hat to Kwity Paye and hey, you were a high round draft pick. You stepped up and elevated in the week that you needed to when you had the matchup that you needed to take. At this point in time, though, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything that makes you go, man, Kwity Paye, a lot of potential sky high, like through the roof. This was a home run pick.
That as a project by
Lawrence Owens called him a project.
Yeah, Lawrence Owens said he's a project.
Projects take a few years to get to where you want them to be.
Not if he was in San Francisco.
Oh, that's true, Anthony.
Play today.
It's the
only way you get better.
The only way. Apparently.
I am curious to see how Jaylen Moore handles Kwity Paye. You know, if he's able to anchor down. I think a lot of Jaylen Moore. I think he has a lot of potential. 100%. Because I'm one of those ones that said next year I would be down with Jaylen Moore playing right tackle if he's developing the right way and moving Mike Glenchie into the right guard. Mm-hmm. So let's see if that is the case. Maybe it is. We're gonna get a very good look at Jaylen Moore and see what they saw. But he's a very athletic guy, has a lot of potential. Any step up and get it done, I think this is a good week for it to happen. If you're ever gonna throw some guy into the fire, this is it.
This is the week to do it. We'll see what happens. Cutback crew, let us know what you thought about all of this down below. Are you worried? Is the 49ers offense now going to struggle? Because there are people who believe it, and there's even a big editorial that just came out on 49ers webzone about it. How the 49ers offense, this is a recipe for disaster this week with Trent Williams being out, the weather and everything else. No Trey Lance. You know, it's all brewing for a disastrous 49ers offensive performance.
Backup quarterback we're worried about not having.
Apparently that's the thing. Or are you like us? 49ers can overcome this. This is the week for something like this to happen with Trent Williams. We can get this done. This offense can still click at a high level. And there's a lot of ways to exploit this defense of the Colts. And we'll see what happens. We want to hear from you down below in the comment section right now. Comment away. And while you're doing that, don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss any of the great content. Head on over to Patreon, too, if you want to check out the All-22 film preview of the Colts vs. Texans, so you can get a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about and what we're seeing, so you can watch this. You heard what we have to say, and then you can head over and watch that, and us don't have to listen to what we're talking about, and you can just see it for yourself.
And if for some reason you think that Jaylen Moore is going to absolutely struggle in this game, please just let us know why, and point out which defensive linemen are going to give him the most fits. Because if you watch this Colts defense, there's Kwity Paye and there's Buckner. And there's Kwity Paye and there's Buckner. I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean,
and Shepard has a one moment. Okay, so there's Kwity Paye and Buckner. You're right.
They have nobody that's going to write home. And if they do have a lot of success against the 49ers, then the 49ers have a lot of problems on the offensive line. I think this will be the 1 week, so everyone's going to get to find out real quick. But just let us know what you think about these injuries and how everyone is going to overcome them. I believe they can overcome them. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just see it from this perspective that they have the ability, they have the talent, and they can get it done. And I mean, I think Jaylen Moore was good enough to take over for Mike McGlinchey. Why is he not good enough? We knew Trent Williams was going to miss football games at some point this season. It's inevitable. He misses football games. Why it was important to have somebody like Jaylen Moore that could go in there and get it done as a swing tackle. He can, and he will. 49ers are going to win this game.
I have faith. We're going to get this done, Cutback crew. We love you all. Thank you all for the support. We'll see you on the next one. Technically, the next one will be the game reaction. So we'll see you for the reaction after the game. And until that time, stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.